Well, throughout this week, we have been highlighting the RiverRun International Film Festival back in town with more than 170 amazing films screening at theaters across the Triad area. Today, we're joined by co-director Tim Hussin, one of the brains behind the new documentary Stray Embers. Tim, I love this documentary's premise. It is so different from some of the other films we've featured this week. You started this project back in 2018. In Paradise, California. We all know what happened in Paradise. 85 people died, the worst wildfire in California history. How did you come to be involved in documenting this?
Yeah, we showed up in Paradise just a couple days after the fire. We were sent there on a news assignment, actually, from The Guardian, and to make a short film.
Okay.
And while we were there, we entered this town. It was completely burned down, full of smoke. Just tragic, tragic situation. And we met a man who actually couldn't leave, couldn't evacuate, and he stayed and he fought the fire. And he saved his house because he had his 90-year-old mother living there, and they couldn't get out. So he had to stay, fight the fire, and they saved it. And then they proceeded to open up their doors to friends, family, and neighbors who had lost everything. So we showed up just a few days afterwards, and we're like, wow, what is this going to turn into? What's it going to look like in the long term? Like after the news stories go away, after all the reporters go away, what is that long-term impact of a severe disaster like this?
And in times of trials and tribulations, there is so much good that happens. Like that man who stayed, like his efforts to help others. You're from Asheville, North Carolina. You've seen the impact of Mother Nature firsthand with Hurricane Helene a year and a half ago. There are so many good storylines that emerge from tragedy.
Yeah, that's true. You know, in both of those situations, we saw a lot of similarities. Like after a natural disaster, it's sort of a window for people once they don't have all those systems that they rely on to kind of create the community that they envision for themselves. And we saw that in Paradise. We also saw that in Asheville during Hurricane Helene. Neighbors relying on each other, showing up in ways that they might not otherwise, and just building that support network that I think lasts long after the disaster.
You're talking about we in the sense that it was you and your now wife who worked in this project together. What was that process like, working with a loved one and seeing all of this firsthand over such a long period of time that you followed these people in your story?
Yeah, I mean, it influenced us a lot. I mean, it's not easy working with your significant other all the time, but, you know, it's a very powerful experience, and I'm very grateful for it. You know, it brought us closer together, and it also influenced probably how we're living today. In Paradise, it's just a multi-generational family structure there, and now we have a 2-year-old child named Arlo, and we're just, you know, it's influenced us tremendously,
That's beautiful, and I can see the sense of pride you really have in your work. Do you still keep in touch with some of the people whose stories you followed in Paradise? What are they doing now?
Absolutely, yeah, we're in touch with them frequently. We visit often. One of the main characters now has like 5 grandchildren since we left. They all just they're growing, they're building a new house on their property. They're thriving. You know, the town is slowly rebuilding, and it's going to be different, but you know, those folks are so rooted in their community that they can't leave.
Let's talk about the documentary screening at RiverRun. Why is that such a big deal for a director of documentaries?
I mean, RiverRun's a great festival. They program amazing films, and it's an opportunity for us to bring our film for the first time to audiences. And yeah, it's just a great curation, and we're just really honored to be a part of RiverRun. What's
next for you? Do you plan to go back to Paradise and do a part 2? Do you plan to document other natural disasters or a completely different topic altogether soon? Well, we're gonna focus on this film for the moment, getting it out there. There are more film festivals lined up. And we are also sort of working on a post-Helene film. It's been in the back burner since we've been putting out this film, but you know, natural disaster seems to follow us around, and I don't think that story is uncommon now that, you know, more and more natural disasters are happening and more people are experiencing them. I love it. Just someone dedicated to seeing the day-to-day of what it's like to really rebuild from the ground up and what it takes, the sense of resilience that unfolds. And so I'm glad you're doing that. There are still a lot of untold stories in the aftermath of Helene. Absolutely. And these stories are really important guides for us to, you know, understand these
tragic events and give us a little bit of window on how to deal with it.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for what you do and what you're bringing here to RiverRun. Let's tell our friends at home when they can see Stray Embers. There is a screening tonight at 7:30. You can find ticket information on the RiverRun website. It is at Reynolds Place Theater.